What's going on? So before I begin, I just want to let you all know, what I'm saying, the music that I listened to when I was, coming up, when I was younger. I am part of the Generation X. I listened to the 90s coming up because I was living in the 90s, of course. The golden era. I listened to rappers such as Nas, KRS One, rap groups such as BDP Productions, Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubians, The Native Tongues, which consist of leaders of the New School, Queen Latifah, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Black Sheep. And I think Naughty by Nature was part of the Native Tongues as well, if I'm not mistaken. They might have just been part of Flavor Unit, and that was something different. Even though that was Queen Latifah's thing too, you know what I'm saying? I listen to a lot of positive rap. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I want to get through to you all. You know what I'm saying? I did listen to NWA. I kind of messed with Ice Cube, when he left the group. I messed with Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang. But Wu-Tang was all about the children, you know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang was dropping science. They were 5%ers. You know what I'm saying? Mobb Deep was somewhat conscious too. You had Prodigy, and Prodigy was throwing little, subliminal messages, positive subliminal messages within the music. But most of it was kind of like, hardcore hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Gangster hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time, you would catch me listening to positive or conscious rap. That was my thing. You know what I'm saying? When Mos Def and Talib Kweli came around, that's when I kind of trickled off of it. You know what I'm saying? I listened to Mos Def, but not so much. I kind of liked Talib Kweli. I didn't really buy their albums. You know what I'm saying? I thought that Mos Def was the most positive, or the best out of that conscious group. You know what I'm saying? You had Common Sense. You know what I'm saying? Well, he was called Common Sense back in the days, and then he had to change his name up to just Common. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up listening to a whole lot of positive rap. Let's go to recent. As of recent, I was a big fan of Capital Steez, Joey Badass when they came out, you know what I'm saying? The Pro Era, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. J. Cole doesn't really kind of interest me, because I don't know, it's just something about him in my opinion. It might be, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But you would think that being that he's from Fayetteville, North Carolina, I live in Charlotte, that I'm supposed to like him, just like how people that's from Charlotte supposed to like Baby, the Baby, but that's not it. You know what I'm saying? He's alright to me, you know what I'm saying? But I've listened to a lot of conscious rap throughout my years. So when Pac came around, because I was young, you know what I'm saying? When Pac came around, the first album he came out with, if I'm not mistaken, is called Tupacalypse. I fucked with that album. You know what I'm saying? He had hits like Trapped, When the Homies Call. I like those songs. You know what I'm saying? Dear Mama, not Dear Mama. I think Brenda's Got a Baby. I think that was it. That was on the first joint. So in the very beginning, the Pac that I saw, I liked him. You know what I'm saying? And then when he, starred in the movie Juice, I liked it. And then after, I don't know whether it was sometime around when he got his testicles shot off or something like that or whatever. I just know he changed up. You know what I'm saying? And he was more vociferous, if that's a word. You know what I'm saying? Or just more, he just had a loud mouth. You know what I'm saying? Wherever he went, wherever they did interviews, he was just loud all the damn time. And back in our times in the 90s, there was a split. It was the East Coast versus the West Coast. So you had to choose, whether you like Pac or whether you like Biggie. And you know who I chose? I chose Biggie. Being that Biggie was from Brooklyn, New York, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I lived in New York, I chose Biggie. I thought that Biggie was more of the lyrical, rapper than Pac. But I kind of respected Pac because Pac was, he was even though he was a loudmouth, he spoke truth. You know what I'm saying? His mom was a Black Panther. And he also was born in New York. Technically, Tupac is a New Yorker. You know what I mean? But as time, progressed, I distanced myself from his music and just really kind of focused on, him acting. Other than that, I really didn't like Tupac because he was just too much of a loudmouth. For real. If you all, for those that are young, if you all were living in the 90s and saw Pac in his most raw and organic form, some of you all would dislike him. I see a lot of you all wearing Tupac shirts, Ice Cube, NWA, shirts, a lot of millennials, younger millennials and Gen Zs. And it's like you all get wrapped up into, I don't know, how can I put it, into what you see or what's being portrayed, like on camera, interviews and stuff like that. But we got to see these people, such as Pac, NWA, and Public Enemy, and all of these different rappers and rap groups in the 90s. We got to see them in their rawest and most organic form. And I'm telling you, some of these people that you praise, you probably wouldn't like them in real life. Which brings me to this point. I don't understand why people all around the world admire Tupac. And it's all to be real with you, it's all for the wrong reasons. Like, y'all take a piece out of Tupac's life, all that thug life and all that, and I know this is an acronym. Thug life is an acronym, and I'm not going to break it down to you because I don't remember it. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it was all about him being, and it wasn't just about him, like the acronym and it being a positive thing. It was a negative thing too. He was all about that thug life, and it was that thug life. But I don't understand how y'all take a part out of his life and run with that, but then throw away the rest of the positive stuff. Y'all take the negative stuff and praise him for the negative stuff, but not the positive stuff. Because at the end of the day, Tupac was really just like me. For real, to be real with you, he was a nigga just like me. And people don't want to talk about that story. They don't want to talk about like, he used to write poetry. I used to write poetry. And I'm not comparing him. I'm not making comparison. I'm just saying that he was a regular dude. He was not this thug dude that everybody is saying that he was. He went to a performing arts school in Maryland. That's how he met Jada Pinkett. He read books upon books upon books. His mother was a Black Panther. I just don't understand how the black community, specifically the black community, is taking this whole thug life thing and running with that. But see, the funny thing about it, I can understand if you all were about that life, but most of you all are not. Because when you get locked up for being a thug and living that thug life, you start crying like a little bitch to your mother. And that's the truth. At least in the 90s, when dudes were doing that thug life shit, they accepted their punishment if they got caught. And I'm just here to tear down this facade, this image that black people have on Tupac. He was not a martyr. You cannot compare him to Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King. These two individuals, juggernauts in our community, black community that is, or really around the world, that stood for something. Tupac was a very confused young man. You got to understand that man died at like, 24, 25 years old. And a lot of people, would go as far as to say that, if Tupac was here, right now, he would have gotten into politics. He would have been the next Malcolm X, to this and to that. It's possible, but it's also possible that he might have not been none of the above. He might have just been a used up, dried up rapper. That's it. I don't understand how black people look up to this man where this man was confused. He had if I'm not mistaken, for those that lived in the 90s and, came up in the 90s or whatever have you, correct me if I'm wrong. He had a video, I Get Around, out on Rap City, and if I'm not mistaken, Dear Mama or Brenda's Got a Baby. On at the same time. Those two videos were going on at the same time. And we just didn't know which Tupac we was going to get when we saw him. When he did interviews. And this is the reason why I didn't like him too much. With Biggie, you knew what you were going to get. With Tupac, you just didn't know. And this is the reason why quite a few people would say that he was fake. That he wasn't keeping it real. Because a lot of his life, he didn't grow up. He grew up, don't get it twisted, he grew up poor, but he didn't grow around, he didn't grow up around any like gangs, Bloods and Crips and shit like that. That's a fact, because there weren't any Bloods and Crips in New York until like the early 90s. Straight up. I know, because one day I was at Broadway Junction, in Brooklyn, about to catch the J train, if I'm not mistaken. And some dude, I had on an old red Tommy Hilfiger joint. It was hot too. It had a pocket. I remember that shit too. I'm about to get on some nostalgia shit. I used to put my blunts in. Excuse me for my, ghetto-ness. Anyway, it was a hot Tommy Hilfiger shirt. You know what I'm saying? With like a kangaroo pouch on my stomach. You know what I'm saying? The front part of the shirt. But it was all red. And then this dude was like, yo, son, what set you what? And I was like, yo, what? And he was about to fight me. And I'm like, I'm in New York, my nigga. What are you talking about? This ain't California. But this is my point. The minute Tupac went over there to California, when he got freed from jail, you know what I'm saying? Suge Knight, he did that deal with Suge Knight or whatever, and then he went over there to California, whatever, But I think he was living in California before that, because he was fucking with Digital Underground, you know what I'm saying? And he was living in California then. But I'm saying, like, when he got out of jail and he went back to California, the second time he started fucking with Dre and all, and Suge Knight and all of that, right? It was like, now all of a sudden he affiliated with this gang and this person and that person or whatever. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? All Eyes on Me, that was, even though it was a good album, it wasn't conscious like that. The minute he stepped out of jail, it's like he just lost hope, as far as dealing with being conscious and trying to raise the vibrations of, the people. And I'm only saying this because the black community is always trying to cling on to someone or something that possibly may get them out of white supremacy. Like a savior. You know what I'm saying? Other than Jesus, they're looking for a savior. They're looking for someone to die on the cross right beside Jesus. And it's like, oftentimes, the black community picks some of the most worst people to have faith and belief in. And I'm not saying Pop was a bad person. I'm just saying, like, at least if you were to pick him, right? At least if you were to pick a leader, at least, if you're going to pick a leader, at least have it where this man has some type of discipline in his life. Tupac, you can go, it's on YouTube. He got on a leather tick. Oh, and this is crazy. Pretty Ricky brought that up too. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Tupac was really, damn man, woo. I'm not saying that he had tendencies. I'm just saying, like, certain things he wore were questionable. Certain things he wore were like, what exactly is your sexuality? I'm just being real. No, don't attack me. Don't attack me. For real, let's keep it real. This man got butt naked in a bathtub with gold covered all over him, with his hands like this, and white photographers taking pictures of him. If y'all don't believe me, the photos, the images are online. But let me get back. Let me get back. At least when a black community picks and chooses a leader, at least have it so with that man or woman has some type of discipline. Tupac didn't have no discipline. It's footage, it's a video that he did an interview. He was smoking weed and he was like, yo, I'ma get high because that's what niggas do. I'ma shoot because that's what niggas do. I'ma drink Hennessy because that's what niggas do. So let me get no. Let me get this right. Have you ever seen Malcolm X do that? Straight up. Yo, I'm just being real. Like, yo, man, we have to change the narrative in the black community. Straight up. Because a lot of these boys and young men are growing up and they talking about they want to be like Pac. And Pac wasn't even Pac. That's the point that I'm trying to make to you. He said he never had a criminal record until he made a record. Until he became a rap star. So that goes to show that Pac wasn't about that life like that. That's real talk. And you should have seen us fools. Well, I ain't fall for it. I ain't go for that okie dokie. But you should have seen your mother and your father when they were younger, talking about how Tupac's still alive after he was killed. And he wasn't assassinated. It wasn't no conspiracy theory going on. You know what I'm saying? It was, but I'm saying it shouldn't have been. It never existed. You know what I'm saying? Should have never existed. Wasn't no FBI killed him or none of that shit. Pac died because he wasn't minding his goddamn business. They were already jumping that man in Las Vegas after the Tyson fight. Pac ran over in his footage. I'm not making this shit up. Pac ran over and started stomping the dude. The dude was already on the ground getting stomped out. Make the long story short, the dude that got stomped out, he retaliated, thus Pac died. That plain and simple. And then after they cremated him and threw his ashes in the water, the black community made up this goddamn cockamamie story that Pac is still alive. And that the album that he came out with called Machiavelli is I'm Alive spelled backwards. And then when, the black people, when you ask the black people about them, saying that Tupac is still alive and that, Afena Shakur had the ashes and threw it, they recorded the shit. You know what they said? Oh, you all had your Elvis. They were talking to the white people. You all had your Elvis. Why can't we have our Tupac? Yeah, I get it, but then again, I don't. I don't. Like, he's not alive. But for years upon years upon years, I'm pretty sure that there's still people till this day that think Tupac is still alive. And if he is, okay. Let's just say he is. Well, what is he gonna do? Like, we have too much faith in one man, and I'm telling you that this is even if you were to have faith in one man, this is the wrong man to have faith in. Tupac was not a good person. He was not a good guy. He wasn't. He was just confused as any other 24, 25-year-old. He had a whole bunch of knowledge in his head, but he didn't have what? And this is what I try to tell the young people out there that think they know every damn thing. He had a whole bunch of knowledge in his head, but he didn't have what, young men and women? Wisdom. So in other words, he didn't know how to apply the knowledge and information that he had, rightfully so. Straight up. So it appeared that he was highly intelligent, in which I think he was, but he wasn't intelligent enough to possess the wisdom. See, one can't do without the other. The youth have the strength, they have the knowledge, but the old have the wisdom, the experience. So Tupac was running around here just like you and me, and you and I. When we were in our 20s, or rather right now, you're in your 20s, running around here without a father figure. Without what? Guidance. Someone to direct them, to guide them the right way. So understand that. You're trying to be like Pac, you need to be like yourself. That plain and simple. There's only one you. There was only one Pac. And this facade, this image that has been pushed and promoted through white media is all a farce. Pac was he's a regular dude that liked poetry and liked reading. Just like I used to like poetry. No, straight up, this is my word. I used to go to the slams and read my shit, and you said that the white man, because at that point in time, it was all about the white man. The white man's doing this, the white man doing that. You know what I'm saying? All that blame the white man shit. The white man created the devil's cake, but he created the angel's cake, and the angel's cake was white, and the devil's cake is black. And then you see them, you hear them. Yeah. All that snapping and shit, incense burning, I'm coughing and shit. You know what I'm saying? The incense all burning and shit. They don't even smell good. I used to be there. Used to be in the slam joints. Hey, he's typical, man. Typical brother. That managed to get signed. Yeah, and he had talent, I'm not gonna lie. He had heart, courage. He had a lot of things that a black leader should possess. You know what I'm saying? He had leadership quality, but there was a big, obvious thing missing. And it was direction, guidance, that wisdom. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you all. Straight up. Be yourself. And if you don't have a father, let alone a father figure in your life, find someone that's older than you that can guide you, put you in the right direction, in the right path, so you won't end up like Tupac. And that's real talk. Other than that, my name is Langston2092. I want you to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely share this video.